Well, as we do continue along, as promised, I love talking to this guy whenever we get the chance. He's a busy man right now with the NFL on CBS. Hello, Charles Davis, part of the call this week with Ian Eagle for Buccaneers hosting Chargers. Good to see you again, and good to have you hanging out here on the Three Dog Thursday podcast, sir.
It's great to see you again, TJ, and we're all busy this time of year, and aren't we lucky that we are? I mean, we are very happy that we're all working and having a chance to see football and be a part of it. So whatever accommodations need to be made, we're going to make them to be out there doing that. That's for sure. It's great to see you. Great to see your smiling face.
Yes, and Charles and I go back a while and love commiserating on all things football. It's great that we do have a football season, that's for sure. And looky here, you have a new partnership with Ian Eagle starting this season on CBS. Look at those smiling faces, socially distanced in the CBS booth.
Plexiglass in there.
I got a little plexiglass, and I've had to work with the plexiglass as well on Buccaneers coverage and some national radio coverage with Tiki Barber. But you guys looking good there. I believe that's in Chicago. Last week, you had Pittsburgh and Houston, which turned out to be a very interesting game. What's it been like to be with Ian and to crank things up with CBS here?
Well, it's been terrific to be with him. I think that anyone who's an analyst in NFL football, if you have a chance to work with Ian Eagle, your career is better. I was fortunate that I was with Kevin Burkhardt before that with Gus Johnson, before that with Tom Brenneman, Dick Stockton. I mean, how lucky have I been along the way, the people that I've had a chance to work with and stand next to. But it doesn't get better than Ian Eagle, that's for sure. And I am a really fortunate guy that this is how it's worked out for me. And our partner on the sidelines, Evan Washburn's as good as it gets as well. So, when I say fortunate, when I say lucky, I actually mean it. These aren't just words for me. And I'm really proud to be with them and hope that I can get up to speed and get onto their level sooner rather than later, because they've been doing it really well for a long time.
Love that. All right, so the Chargers and the Buccaneers this week, everybody knows that's part of Three Dog Thursday and the podcast where I'm in the bag for the Bucs. There's the hat that's there on that. Buccaneers, much better the last couple of weeks in wins over Carolina and Denver. You've been analyzing the tape. What stands out about the Bucs real quick? What do you see?
Well, I think that what you just said, much better in the last couple of weeks, and really should we be surprised? We have that with a number of teams, and I started the season thinking the word continuity was a big deal in the early season, in the early going. And we've seen that. Teams that have their established people back, coaching staff intact. So Kansas City, Baltimore, just go right on down the line. These teams have been pretty darn good in the early going. Not a major surprise because they might have had a little bit of a jump. Tampa, well, there's a lot that was continuity, coaching staff and all of that, but you've changed quarterbacks, you're bringing in Gronk, you're doing all these other things. No preseason, no joint training camps. Well, look at Tom Brady over the first 3 weeks, right? He's still Tom Brady, but what a jump from week 2 to week 3 when you look at the numbers. No interceptions, quarterback rating goes sky high again, all these things. Now, you and I both know that's been a big part of it. The other part is, as Bruce Arians has so eloquently expressed, Tom Brady was just the icing on the cake. He's a cherry on top because the defense was the key for us. And boy, has that defense played awfully well, and those words are not hollow. Those aren't just words from BA. Keeping that defense intact was a priority, and it has paid off in a big way because right now, not many people blocking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, so let's pick up on that point where this guy that we're now seeing on the screen, Shaq Barrett, very impressive last week with his first 2 sacks, had a safety in the game at Denver, kind of a homecoming for him. Again, Buccaneers loaded on the front 7 with Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul on the outside, in Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea, the former number 1 pick on the inside, and 2 great linebackers in Devin White and Levante David, one of the best kept secrets in the NFL, playing linebacker for this team. Again, when you watch the Bucs and you see not just Barrett pass rushing, but those guys making plays the last couple of weeks, give me a thing or two that you've honed in on as you get ready to work this game.
Well, you mentioned Levante David. Why he's a secret is beyond me. He's been playing awfully well for a long time. He doesn't get enough credit. And a part of that has been the record of the Buccaneers during the time he's been there. Not enough playoff appearances, not enough national TV appearances, not enough for people like you and me on a national scale to be able to hype him where the masses hear about it. So that goes into part of it. But now this year, he'll be discovered. He will. The thing that I really have locked in on, you mentioned all of the pass rushers. It's been two things. Last year, the coverage on the back end, it struggled at times, right, to be charitable about the whole thing. That's been a lot better. I'm hoping Sean Murphy-Bunting can go this week at corner. I'm not sure he will, but Jamel Dean played well for him last year. He'll jump into the fray if he has to. Carlton Davis has really elevated himself out on the corner. But up front, all the pass rushers terrific, but I think that Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea inside have made all the rest of them better, because the occupation you have to have with that inside bull pass rush, which drives quarterbacks crazy. Yeah, coming off the edge, no one wants to see it. But that pressure in the middle, that gut pressure in their face, that drives them crazy. And look, we can go back to Tom Brady's time in New England, and if we put some truth serum in him and ask him about the Super Bowl against Seattle, I think the biggest thing he would say was the injury to Cliff Averill in that ball game and change that inside pass rushing pressure. I think that was a big deal for them, okay? Because if that doesn't change, I don't think New England's even in a position for the big play by Malcolm Butler. But that tells you how big that pressure is on the inside for guys. And Vea and Sue have made all the rest of those pass rushers better.
To your point, I had Rondé Barber on another podcast on the Buccaneers Nothing But Bucs podcast this week, and he said, hey, you don't even have to ask Warren Sapp. He has just volunteered this for 20 years. The only reason why I got all those interceptions is because of Sapp in the middle of the pass rush of the defense, creating pressure and helping the quarterback throw it to the other team. Again, you're hearing from Charles Davis, the NFL on CBS. Chargers and Buccaneers this week. He's with Ian Eagle every week on that network. Another moment or two with him. I want to ask you one more about the Bucs, then I'll sneak in one about the Chargers. This guy, that would be Rob Gronkowski. Tell me a little more last week. I mean, he embraced the whole early criticism about he's only blocking, he's not catching. And so he kept saying as a blocking tight end. He came in the media saying as a blocking tight end, as a blocking tight end. So everybody now has just started calling him, Charles, a blocking tight end, and hey, blocking tight end. Well, he was a pass-catching tight end last week. What about the fit for Gronk? What did you see on the tape watching this game? He had 6 catches last week against Denver. What about it?
Well, he's back. When I say he's back, all right, we'll see as we continue on, because coming off of a year off, I thought it would do wonders for his body. And I think that it has, in terms of rest, rehabilitation, gives him that extra enthusiasm to go out there. But he still had to round back into form. And the way this offense is designed, and Bruce Arians, head coach, has talked about it, we throw outside more than we throw inside. Well, here's a chance now, and Gronk is going to be Gronk. But, I think the person who's going to benefit from Gronk being Gronk is not just the guys on the outside when Godwin comes back healthy, and Mike Evans and Scooter himself, Scotty Miller. I think that O.J. Howard is going to benefit as another tight end. And now that ability to get downfield that we've seen from O.J. Howard, why he was drafted, why I'm firmly convinced on draft night his year that the Buccaneers were going to take a running back. I still think Joe Mixon was going to be the selection. But Howard came free, and they had a higher grade on their board, and they couldn't turn it down once they realized there was no other reason. I think he's going to continue to find a way to fashion more of those big plays we've seen with he and Brady downfield. So I think that comes into it. And Gronk, look, he can embrace all that blocking all he wants, and he does it very, very well. But at some point, he's going to continue to make those Gronk plays downfield and get in the end zone and get a Gronk spike again. So I expect that to happen sooner rather than later.
Targeted 6 times last week, 6 catches last week as well. And it's work in progress. And they didn't have preseason, et cetera. He's off a year retirement. We'll see how it goes for Gronkowski. Final moment or two here. The Chargers, Tyrod Taylor. We don't know at the time that we're talking whether he can play or not. We know Justin Herbert, the rookie from Oregon at quarterback, got hurt in the game last week. So they're a bit banged up. They did play, with Herbert playing well, right with the Chiefs into overtime. They didn't play particularly well in a loss last week. What do you expect out of the Chargers, real quick, for this matchup?
I expect renewed enthusiasm and attention to detail for the task, because I think you nailed it, TJ, very, very well. What they did against Kansas City, well, who's not going to get up for the defending Super Bowl champs, even when your quarterback, you find out he can't play right before kickoff? And give Justin Herbert a ton of credit in how he played. Hey, Rook, you're in. What? And he handled that way better. I mean, most of us would have been back there looking for, the bucket.
Not only are you in, but the starter is going to the hospital. So you're playing. You're in for the rest of the game.
It's not just go in while we get his shoelace repaired, okay? You're in. You're staying in, all right? And he handled it really, really well. I think people got to see a little bit more of the personality of Justin Herbert. But the second part is attention to detail. When you look back at the errors they made in the Carolina game, as you said, they weren't nearly as good in that game. It's a team they should have handled and beat at home. But they had 3 turnovers, really 4 when you count, I guess, the botched hook and ladder. When you look at the Jerry Tillery lining up incorrectly on a field goal attempt over the center, which that rule's been in place for a few years now. They kicked the field goal, the penalty. They took the point off board, scored a touchdown the next play. Joey Bosa jumping off sides on a 3rd and short, gave him a first down. They still only kicked the field goal, but they ate up another 3 minutes on the clock. He's had a lot of jump off sides this year, things of that nature. Their defense is very good, still really talented, even without Derwin James, but they haven't taken the ball away. I had Houston last week, TJ. They had 0 takeaways coming into that game, and I think they left Pittsburgh with 0 takeaways. That's not going to help you on defense. They held Carolina 5 field goals. That's supposed to be how you win games in the NFL. So the offense obviously has to score more, but this defense, they can't let people drive it, and they've got to find a way to create takeaways, and, of course, Tampa Bay is well aware of that.
All right, it is the Bucs and the Chargers. Charles Davis on the call with Ian Eagle and Evan Washburn all over Florida, all over California, and wherever else. Sunday Ticket, wherever else you're seeing the NFL, you'll see him on the call in that game. I know you got to run. Thank you for hanging on the 3 Dog Thursday podcast. You're a busy man. Thank you, Charles Davis. Great stuff. I appreciate it, sir.
Thanks for having me. I'm no busier than you. You know how that goes, and it's really great to see you, and my best to your beautiful family.
Look forward to seeing Charles Davis this weekend. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.